like I said, it happens, and hopefully some kids can learn from it, but just don't get caught.
I'm down to dunk.
And I'm down to dunk. I'm down to dunk.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lindy Waters, and I'm down to dunk. I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kendrick Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
We say this is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Cracklin Oat Bran?
Have you had Cracklin Oat Bran?
No,
No. Okay.
but it's healthy.
Are you a big oat brand guy?
I'm a big Oat Bran guy.
Okay.
I think I would switch it with Fruity Pebbles.
Okay, eat faster. Don't put as much in the bowl.
Do you have a gallon of milk I can also take home?
You don't have milk at home?
One cinnamon toast.
Okay.
Crunch. Yeah. Cereal is great. Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to episode 1, 3, 1, 2 of Down to Dunk. You can find us on The Athletic and anywhere else you subscribe to your podcast. Go to theathletic.com/down to dunk and get The Athletic for $1 a month for 6 months. I am joined this morning by Andrew.
I gotta say, I'm just fired up to be here today. It's pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. Woo!
Slam through.
Taylor.
We've changed a lot and then some. Know that we have always been down. If I ever didn't thank you, then just like slam through.
And Jay.
It's Jay.
We're all back together again. It's been so long.
That song.
311.
311.
baby.
Good one, man.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, even though it may not have been on.
It
the
was.
soundtrack.
I was like, was it?
I don't
in
think
that?
it was
I don't
on
think
that.
was on
Still
there.
has the vibes.
It does have the vibes. THPS 1 and 2. More 1 vibes.
Yeah, more one vibes for sure.
It was still good. Well, here I am.
Okay. Any playoff thoughts you guys have rolling around in your brains?
I always like and I'm trying to think, has it happened at every series or not? But I always like the one team figures out how to play in the second game, even though they lose the first game, which happened in
Yeah.
Miami, the Knicks. Actually, it wasn't the Knicks. That was like, it was the Philly series where all of a sudden Boston was like, oh, we should probably try.
Yeah, Knicks Heat, like the Heat could have definitely won that.
Oh
second
my
game.
God.
They almost did.
Yeah.
with-
They
without
should.
Jimmy.
They actually should have won that game.
Yeah.
The
But
Knicks.
you had the Boston game
Gosh.
where all of a sudden, for me, I'm like, why even play Embiid? You got the game won. Give him
I
another
know.
4 days of rest.
That's how I felt too.
Like, just put him, like, don't let him play unless
him
you think, like,
rest.
let him shake off some of the dust and then he can play, the next game. But then you have last night the Lakers, and I didn't even watch I don't know what the total was, but I know they were up by 30 in the third quarter. Or something
Yeah.
like that.
It was over.
And that's it. I actually was shocked. If you would have told me in the first 5 minutes of the game one that the Lakers were going to win, I would have told you you're a liar. I thought it was like, well, the Warriors are going to sweep the Lakers because I just think they're that. I just have never bought the Lakers, although they're playing relatively well. But to be 1-1 and going back home, it's surprising to me in a lot of ways. And then obviously what other series? Oh, the Phoenix. I think Phoenix is cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're Denver, you have to be. I don't know. I think I would be feeling nervous about how confident I feel right now if I were a Nuggets fan, because you can almost give Denver like every advantage. Like best player in the series, it's probably Jokic. Like best bench, it's easily the Nuggets. Best supporting cast, it's the Nuggets. Best shooting, it's the Nuggets. I mean, better defense right now, it's the Nuggets.
Mhm.
I mean,
Depth, Nuggets.
yeah, it's everything. And so, I mean, if this series is over in 5, I'm not shocked.
Monty Williams said something really interesting after game one. He was talking about how his team respects the Nuggets, but he was like, the Nuggets came into this game with a lot of respect for us too, and you could tell in how they were playing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really interesting thing for a coach to say about the other team. I haven't heard it put that way, but that's so true. Nuggets came in like, this is serious.
Yeah.
And they have treated both games that way. And they've had so many kind of early playoff outs and losses.
Yeah.
I think they're just kind of over that. They seem to be on a different level this year.
Well, they even shot the ball terribly in that game too.
Jamal Murray was bad in game.
Murray
2.
was 0 of 9 from 3, and they
Yeah.
still won the game by 10.
Yeah.
And it was because the Suns scored 87 points in that game.
I think
They were so bad.
so bad. I think you and Alex talked about this in your podcast. I think that you're correct. Phoenix is going to get just absolutely roasted for going out. Probably what I would assume at this point is a gentleman's sweep. And rightfully so, right? There's so much hype going to them. But I think they are a team that will this summer retool with a lot of those ring chasers and vet minimums and all of that to where they'll have more depth next year, which is clearly their biggest issue.
Yeah.
You know, and an aging Chris Paul that has not looked like Chris Paul all year.
That's one of the biggest problems. It's like, what do you do with Chris Paul?
Trade him for Kyrie Irving.
Oh, gosh.
His expiration date is over.
Kyrie Irving and KD back together again.
Back together.
The gruesome twosome.
But I just think that, I don't know. I mean, I think the Suns are, man, I just don't know. I don't
They
know.
just
They're in
don't
trouble.
they don't have anybody outside of
Especially
Booker
when
and KD now when CP3's hurt and Ayton is
he just disappears.
Yeah.
He's just not that good.
He is essentially useless in this series against Jokic.
Yeah, he just doesn't play with a lot of effort or energy. You would, if he was on the Thunder, you would just hate him.
Totally.
Yeah.
We're starting to get New York Knicks fan videos of them just being insane people before and after the games, which I love that type of video.
It is great.
Specifically the Knicks. It's so much fun.
I've said this before. When the Knicks are good, the NBA is better.
It's so much
true.
better. Yeah.
And you can even see some of that bearing out in the ratings.
Yeah.
Like this is the most watched playoffs in it feels like a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And large part because the Lakers are in it. The
Lakers and Warriors and Knicks and
all your big markets are represented. So.
You're having huge games. Even the Kings and Warriors games like that. It's very exciting this year. And it's good for the league that they keep getting these matchups.
Yeah.
Like they get some really good matchups.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen the Kings Warriors in the second or third round.
Yeah.
Like it's that it was just that intense of a series.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Kings, man, I was so impressed. Like I would be, if I was a Kings fan, I would be really happy with the way my team showed up.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the way they played against the Warriors, it didn't look like they were intimidated by the moment.
Yeah.
And it took a historic game from Steph to eliminate them.
Yeah.
I think they still have roster. I think they have roster questions. Like I think the Warriors created a pretty decent blueprint on how to basically mitigate Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, it's, I don't know. They've got it's a fun squad. And De'Aaron Fox showed up in a major way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, man, it's been fun. It's hard. I don't get to watch as much. It's like the timing of it because I would love to be able to watch every Knicks Heat game, but
they're pretty gross games.
They're pretty gross games. And then on top of that, it's like they tip off at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I've also got to be a husband and a dad. So, and then the next one starts and I'm like, well, I'm going to watch the first half maybe and then go to
and then, yeah.
Who do you have to be a husband to?
Mom.
I
was like, oh, is this a trick question?
Who are y'all's picks for the finals right now?
Nuggets.
Yep.
Oh, dang. And no, it's probably Warriors. I just don't want to say the Warriors.
Nuggets, Boston.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
I remember at the beginning of the season, I picked Philly and the Clippers. So far, still feeling good about one of those.
Yeah.
Don't think
you feel good about Philly, though?
I don't feel
good
about
about it.
I don't know how to feel about Philly.
Phil about Philly. Philly about Philly.
I don't feel good about Philly. Just because Embiid is not healthy. If Embiid was like fully healthy, I think they could beat the Celtics.
I think they're going to benefit from the fact that the Celtics have at least shown this playoff so far is that they don't have, I don't know if it's the dog in them or if they just don't have the fact that they continually underperform in game 1 against Philly or game 3 through 5 or 4 through 6 of whatever the Hawks series was. Like, that's my only fear with Boston is, are they going to consistently show up? Because they could win this in a gentleman's sweep, especially without a healthy Embiid. But they show up in the way that they should?
No, they won't. They won't.
So Boston makes sense, but it's like they just haven't. They've shown enough laziness in the way that they finish games, and it reminds me of the way like we kind of forget about it because it's still with the finals. Like I think it was Zach Lowe was talking about this. I can't remember with who, but last year against it was with Bontemps. Last year against the Heat. Do you remember? Was it game 7 or game 6 or whatever it was at the end of the game where it was 7?
Yeah, game 7.
They were up by like 12 with like a minute and a half left and just
away.
like laid down on the ground.
Mm-hmm. I guess what's difficult about picking that series is like, who do you believe in more, the Celtics or James Harden?
Yeah.
Or Doc Rivers
or Doc Rivers.
Or a healthy Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Or PJ Tucker, who took 0 shots in 37 minutes in game 1.
Which I think is actually
typical for him.
Maybe
more
more aggressive than a lot of other feats.
0 is not very many.
It's less than 1.
I think he's had quite a few 0 games. 0 shots from the field.
I'm sure he has,
year.
But playing that many minutes and just not taking any shots.
Yeah.
I would be so embarrassed if I were the Celtics just because they didn't make the Sixers pay for that at all.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of let that happen and let PJ Tucker stay effective with taking no shots, which is not good.
And I didn't watch that game, the second one. By the time I was going to turn it on, they were down by like 30. So I was like, we'll just skip this one. But you still can't you can't guard PJ Tucker the way that Kevon Looney guards Sabonis. Like, you can't just sit in the lane because he has historically, whether or not he does now, but like if you leave him open in the corner and sag off to play whomever else is going to be in the middle.
Yeah, but you can get to him.
He's going to punish you. Yeah. I mean,
you can get, he's not like some quick trigger. He's not.
I understand that, but he's built an entire career of being the guy that you can't really sag. It's even Draymond's the same way where it's like, you probably should guard Draymond by not guarding him.
Yeah. Most people don't though.
The issue with Draymond that makes it different, and PJ's not doesn't seem to play the same way. Is the fact that he sets so many screens that you have to be close to him so you can play off whenever Steph or Clay or
he's involved in the
Jordan
action.
Poole come around
because he's like,
but PJ just goes and stands in the corner.
He just sits there in the corner,
like Daniel Bobick.
Oh wow,
remember that guy?
Yeah, that's a throwback.
That's like the best 3-point shooter I've ever seen in college basketball. Steph Curry, Daniel Bobick.
Daniel Bobick.
What do we think about LeBron? He hasn't seemed to be able to just put the team on his back, and this might be the first year.
He's 38.
I know, but is it time to accept that that's it?
Yeah, I mean, what 38-year-old has put a team on their back in the second round of the playoffs?
You can't say it's hard because nobody, but at the same time, you're like, but nobody's ever been LeBron.
Yeah.
He's still
expect it.
He's still really good though.
Yeah, he was great last night. The issue was last night is Anthony Davis didn't show up.
Right. Anthony. Yeah.
And you have JaMychal Green starting the game.
Yeah, I know.
And the first 5 possessions for the Lakers, they didn't even get the ball to Anthony Davis.
JaMychal Green outscored Anthony Davis, and JaMychal Green only played 18 minutes or something in the whole game.
I know. Hey, they still stole game 1.
Yep.
Like that's all. If you're the road team, that's like mission accomplished. If you want to take the night off in game 2, fine.
Are Nuggets Suns the only series in which it's not 1-1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. All right.
The Warriors are probably going to make the finals, aren't they?
I don't know.
So mad.
I wonder.
The Nuggets look like the best team in the West.
They definitely do, but it's like
maybe the best team in the entire playoffs.
Yeah, That might be true.
Because, and the thing about the Nuggets, and I even hear this whenever you guys are doing your draft ranking on, or your, playoff draft,
Mm-hmm.
is, have the Nuggets been chosen first once?
No.
And so they're just flying under the radar and very content to do that. Now, I do wonder, I do wonder if Phoenix comes back and wins game 3, which I think is tonight here. Or is it a Friday night?
Yeah, it's tonight in Phoenix. Yeah.
Because you're going to get better games from your role players at home, more than likely, but you're no Chris Paul, but I could see KD and or Booker going off for 45, 50 points, something like that. I do think altitude is always something with Denver, although you should get used to it for the second game. And so anyway, but I think there's a lot of things where it's really easy to discount or not believe in Denver because they just haven't been there before.
Yeah, you just haven't seen them do it. That's why it's hard to pick them. It's easy to pick Lakers, Warriors, Celtics,
especially after
teams.
last year with the Warriors, right? Where they come into the playoffs pretty similar to this year, where it's like you're not really expecting much.
Yeah.
You think they're probably going to go out second round, maybe Western Conference final. They keep pulling it together. They keep putting stuff together, and that it feels the same this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's scaring me. I'm getting really scared.
I think if they make it through the Lakers, I think the Nuggets could beat them.
Could. Yes.
They could.
Should. Yes.
We'll see. If that series goes 7 and Denver gets like a week of rest because they just beat the Suns in 5 or whatever, that could really help because
the Warriors are going to wear down. They've played a lot of minutes.
If they go like 2 consecutive 7-game series, that's just really tough with the age of their roster.
Well, you watched it. I mean, this is not directly comparable, but I think about the year they lost to Toronto.
Yeah.
Like eventually, not just the minutes they played in the playoffs. I'm saying when you've won 4 championships, right? 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, four.
When you've won 4 championships and made deep runs every other year that you didn't win, except for the one where they all just took the year off. I'm like, that's what catches up to you as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing, like Denver made like 2 peripheral moves that were kind of not super talked about that were perfect roster constructions, like the KCP edition.
That's
and then
such a good
is
trade.
it Bruce Brown?
Bruce Brown.
Okay. It's like Bruce Bowen, anyway.
Yeah.
So those 2 guys have been incredible additions to this roster.
Really good. Aaron Gordon's been better this year too.
Yep. And I didn't realize he'd become, and maybe he was always this way, I just never thought of him this way, is like he has become a really high level defender.
Yeah. Yeah, he has. He's really taken on the role that they've given him.
Can you imagine how often he goes to bed and he just thanks God that he's not in Orlando anymore?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like he was asked to do a lot in Orlando too. And with the Nuggets, it's like and that's the thing that the Warriors have and the Nuggets have that some of these other teams don't, is like they just know how to play together.
Yeah.
You'd going from Orlando to Colorado, you'd have to buy all new clothes.
Yeah.
Total new wardrobe.
You don't have winter clothes.
That's
if
a
you're
great
in Miami.
Yeah.
You probably got rid of a lot of Disney clothes.
Well, all your Donald Duck shirts.
Yeah.
No, they're cooler now in Denver.
Goofy hat.
Gone.
Goofy hat.
Gone.
With the hat that like is Goofy's face
It's
and the
good.
bill's really long.
Yeah,
because
it's
of
his
his nose.
snout.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon had multiple of those. when
And
he
the
was in
ears.
Orlando.
In the
Yep.
ears.
Ears
Yeah.
will flop down.
Floppy
Yeah,
ears.
yeah.
Classic hat. Classic Disney hat.
I had
Classic.
one.
Yeah, we have one.
Yeah.
That's got to be up there with like
Top hat. All
Ears.
time.
the Mickey ears or
Yeah.
mini ears, and then Goofy hat. That's got to be.
Oh man.
If you're looking at your Mount Rushmore of Disney apparel,
Disney apparel.
Mm-hmm.
those 2 have to be up there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm so glad I apologize if you are a Disney adult. I'm so glad I'm not one.
I'm not on I've never been to Disney. Period.
Really?
No.
I'm probably getting killed.
There it is.
There it
Look at
is, dude.
Looking
Dude,
good, man.
It looks real good. Yeah.
Wow.
ears.
I didn't know the ears
good.
were like
lace.
yeah.
This is like from the 90s.
That's a good hat. Oh, hey, don't sleep on the teeth.
Yeah, it's got the teeth.
Don't sleep on the teeth,
That's
dude.
good.
It's a reason
like
to
that a
watch us on
lot.
YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's real good.
I'm glad you just
Yeah.
had
So
that.
Andrew,
like,
you're a
close.
Disney. You've been to Disney a few times.
Yes, I have.
So
But he has kids, so you're not a Disney adult. The Disney adults that I'm talking about are the adults that have no kids that are just going to Disney.
well, yeah, you see
like
like
once
the,
a year.
the TikTok or the Instagram reel where it's like first time seeing Disney after COVID, and it's
God,
like
that's
just
so,
like falling down, weeping, looking at the castle, like those people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
that's
not that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Disney's cool, but
give me
Come on.
your of Disney apparel.
apparel.
Is
Yeah.
there anything? If you go Mount Rushmore, it may be hard to even find 4. You got Mickey and Minnie ears, and then you got Goofy hat. Is there anything else? What do you see people wearing when you go there?
When you go to Disney,
I
I
feel
mean,
like there's probably a backpack that, if we saw, we'd be like, oh yeah, that's
well, the thing to do now is to have your family wear all the same shirt,
yeah,
like your family Disney trip shirt.
So you can find them.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the crowd.
so you can recognize
So you
them.
can find them in the crowd. Yeah, I think
The thing
that's right.
also
I mean,
to
that's the
do-
thing you see a lot.
And you see a lot like politicians, like DeSantis using the Disney D for his.
He's gonna get sued for that.
He is
You can't go against Disney. They'll sue you. They'll cease and desist you so fast. But that's a good hat.
It's a good hat. Archie was wearing it the other day.
Is that why it was close?
Yeah, it was just hanging up there in the hallway. He was wearing it backwards
Cool.
while we were outside playing basketball.
Hooping.
Hooping in the Goofy hat. That's tight.
Goofy hooping.
Goof hoop.
Goofy
Goof
hooping.
hoop.
Goof hoop.
They should have a goofy basketball
Show.
show called Goof Hoop.
Yes, they should.
Free idea. Hoop idea.
There you go.
Ooh,
Okay, we got a Tayshawn's factoid.
just a quick one.
John's factoid figure mystery. John's factoid figure mystery.
Oh, I'm Tayshawn. This is my victory.
Joe Missoula, Petty King. We stand a Petty King, don't we, Luke?
We stand a Petty King.
Yes. So I think we all saw it. How he ended his his press conference after the game.
I wish I had
game
it
two.
pulled up.
I'll bring it up. So game 1, all the questions were about how come you didn't adjust to it just beat James Harden Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't do anything in the game. Game 2, obvious adjustments. Embiid's back, totally different game.
Yeah.
So at the end of his presser, he says, so no one wants to ask me about adjustments. And then gets up, pushes his chair back. And as he's walking out, I guess he said, I'm the worst coach ever or something under his breath. Petty King. We stand a Petty King.
Yeah.
Are you guys ever petty about anything? Because I was thinking about us. I was like, who's been petty? Luke can be petty.
I can be petty. I love being petty.
Yeah. What's the last thing you were petty about?
I can't remember specifically, but when you can use a critique someone has made against you and spin it around,
Mm-hmm.
it is so satisfying. And sometimes as an attorney, you get to do it, and it's awesome. It feels really good, and I do it every time that I get the chance. I can't not.
Yeah.
I feel like that's justified pettiness. If someone's like critiquing you wrongly and you can turn around, then it's like, yeah, humble yourself.
Yeah, it's good.
I felt pretty petty about all the Dort hate all year, and then when Dort was awesome,
Oh yeah.
I felt
You
like
did get real petty.
I got pretty petty then.
When you can go like on Twitter, when you can dig up like an old tweet, like the guy who did it against Draymond, like insecurities are really loud or whatever, found his old tweet and retweeted it when Draymond stepped on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's really good. I'm not very good I don't remember stuff like that, but that's like you've been prepared to be petty for a long time.
Yeah, people that remember tweets for years and can just like pull them up.
Yeah, that is like petty at its finest.
That's why.
Yeah, that's like
why
you live
Alex
your life
deletes
that way.
all of his tweets.
Yeah,
That's so smart.
it's true.
It's so smart.
Yeah, I
want to leave room for pettiness for people to bring it back.
yeah,
Mm.
You know.
kind of like last year whenever you said that they weren't going to win. What was the comment? And there was always one guy every single time.
Oh,
they
I
won.
said that they were going to struggle to score 85 points.
Every time they scored 85 points.
Every time, every single time. You know what? I respect it. I respect that.
It's good.
It was
It's
really,
good.
it was really good. Alex Bolerjack said that Andrew's is petty about the Thunder drafting a large center.
Are you?
I got into it with some people yesterday on Twitter. I regret it.
Sometimes you're just feeling it.
So yeah, I was
just feeling it. You gotta do it.
I was feeling it a little bit yesterday, and I regret it. But
Don't you think though that the Thunder should have drafted Jalen Duren instead of Usman?
that's what this is about.
So at the beginning, it was the beginning.
Yeah,
I see it in my. I rarely go to my For You on my Twitter feed, but
Yeah.
I went over there and it's like sometimes it's just Andrew just feeding the trolls, man.
Love it.
I was like, come on, man.
You got to keep them fed.
They had 2 chances to draft him and said no. They just didn't. They obviously weren't going to take him. He's taken 13th.
Yeah, but they should have. Are the Thunder still in the playoffs if they draft Duren instead of Usman Jing?
I don't think it matters.
Tune in next week.
Have you guys been on the Thunder Reddit like
No,
in the past week or so? It's
Not really.
It's like they don't really have anything to talk about right now because
same.
And I'm telling you, someone wrote like an epic poem about Josh Giddey's hair.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
was long. It was long. I couldn't even read it all, but it was like
Was it busting or disgusting?
it was impressive that they did it, but also disgusting that they did it. It was right in the middle.
Yeah.
It was
A bust disgust.
It was so weird.
Hmm.
It was so, but I liked it. So that's what's happening out there. They don't have.
I
anything
feel
to
like
talk
you're
about.
confused about your feelings about it too.
I am.
Yeah,
Because I read it and I
Because
was
you
like,
liked it, but you're like, I shouldn't like it.
Well, it's
It's
like,
weird.
You didn't want to like it.
You're being a Disney adult about it.
I don't know what I'm being. I'm gonna go back and read it. It's
Yeah.
an interpretive reading.
Hmm.
Like it led to the downfall. Like the league got in the poem. The league got canceled because like they tried to cut his hair. It was very strange.
Yeah, that's a little too far. That's a little too far.
Someone just has a ton of free time, and I support that. A hobby.
I mean, isn't that why Reddit exists?
Yeah.
It's for the people that have a ton of free time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have hobbies right now?
John's back to bigger in John's back to bigger in All right, let's get down in deep. Let's get deep, y'all. No, it's not a deep dive. What is it? It's advice. Let's get deep with some advice. Okay, this comes from Ryan, who says he was looking for some advice, and he says, when my wife and I are driving, I always try to play my early 2000s punk, emo, screamo music that she never listened to. And she always gets annoyed and asks me to change it to something else. How can I help her understand and appreciate this golden era of music? So
I bet you there's a middle ground with music that both of you enjoy. Do that. Find that.
What's the middle ground that you
singer-songwriter?
Oh my God.
Some throat?
Oh man, the body. Oh my word. I don't think you like that kind of music. You're just doing that to appease her.
The complication for me is podcasts.
Yeah.
Because I podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is
Sport-
way that's
some-
happening.
No. There's 2 ways to do this, in my opinion. Like, what do I like? What do we find mutual? So we drove back from the Destin area. I downloaded. But what I've also started to do is I just put AirPods in.
Yeah.
And I just listen to what I want to listen to. Now,
That's dangerous.
it gets complicated when it
Because you
comes.
can't listen to the road. And like people honking.
Both in. Do you put both in?
Nobody honks at me.
Do you put both in? Do you put
I
Or do
am
I-
the one who honks. No, normally it's my left.
Liar.
But also AirPods have the ability to turn off your noise cancellation.
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
hear everything around you.
I don't have AirPods.
So
I
anyway,
don't know.
all that to say that AirPods have really saved some of that as well.
So your answer is do not do.
Well, this is what I was going to say. So where it gets complicated is if you're trying to screamo in the car, your headphones are just going to amplify that to where you're going to be doing it and nobody else is going to be participating in the car. So that's where there's a little bit of a failure in the AirPod game.
Here's my thought. You can't go immediately to screamo because that's like the logical progression of all these. Like it goes emo, punk, screamo, and to be like, screaming your guts out. That's progression. I think you have to start her on like light emo,
Which would be
and get her like Dashboard confessional.
Are they're the gateway drug of?
I think
email?
so. I think
Yeah,
so.
probably
Like that's
so.
when like
That's where I stopped. So it must be.
you just didn't
I
get past
didn't
it.
go beyond them.
I think, or like maybe, and then you just get like you take her on, like you're there, you like all this stuff, and you like screamo, great. Well, you didn't start there. You got to think like when you were, when I was like 15, what you started at, and like get her there and give her. It's like introduce her slowly to it so she likes it, and then you get her from there to like Taking Back Sunday, that is emo but still has some screaming. I think that you don't like Thursday?
I liked them. I liked one. I've already gotten into this. I liked one album, Full Collapse.
That's that. But then
Wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
just not do it. Just keep it to yourself.
If your wife didn't like it back then, she definitely won't like it now.
No, you're not.
Amy
gonna-
likes some of that stuff, and so we'll listen to some of it. But
go
yeah.
toward.
She was at the Copeland show.
yeah, she likes Copeland and bands like that. Yeah,
but
yeah.
Copeland.
Oh.
Do they even fit in that? I listen to
Emo
Copeland.
baby.
Yeah, they're kind
Yeah,
of
they're emo. Yeah, they're definitely emo. I mean, their lead singer had half of his hair over his face the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Like still.
like 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
That's
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the fans, 100%.
Yeah. You know who's coming back? Sparta's coming back in the next month or so.
Don't know them.
Sparta?
Just one
Yeah,
last thing.
I mean,
Okay.
Go towards your wife, bro.
Yeah, turn.
Don't try
toward
to-
her.
What does she like? What does she want to listen to?
Find that. I guarantee you, there's music you both like.
yeah.
What if there's
It's
not?
pretty limited. Well, no, it's not true. My wife and I.
My wife likes it.
Likes it.
Oh. All right. Well, we went to Ben Rector together.
Yeah.
See?
That was great.
It was a great show.
We were
That's
all
like
there.
our
Jay,
go-to.
Jay and I were there too.
Yep.
Together.
We
Wow.
didn't invite y'all.
You guys all do stuff with Jay outside of this, except me.
It's true.
No,
Yeah.
Jay, we just end up running into Jay, and then we realized Jay made plans without us, and now we ran into him.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I don't run into you nowhere.
It's
I run
'cause
into you at Empire, dude.
I know I don't run into Jay. I run into all you guys except Jay.
It's true.
You run into Andrew.
Dude, I see Andrew all the time. Copeland.
Copeland.
Oh yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. We're going to have a quick break now.
It's like scared going into the commercial break.
And we're back after that quick break. It's time for some Twitter questions.
You got questions and you ask them on Twitter. Now we answer them for you. This is Twitter questions. Now let's get down to it.
All right, let's go to some Twitter questions. Our first Twitter question comes from @BWeek, 3 E's in that week. What does another giddy leap look like next year? This year's seem to be driven by more physicality, better finishing at the rim, and a jump in 3-point efficiency. Where does the next step come from?
It has to be 3-point shooting.
I think, yeah, he's got to get better as a shooter. And then the free throw line is the next real step for him.
Like getting to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got to
Because
get
his
there.
efficiency was decent.
He's like in the 70s. He's fine, but he's got to get there. I mean, he drives enough and like gets to the hoop enough to where he needs to figure out how to get calls.
And I think it's maybe changing. Okay, when you drive and get to the hoop, how are you trying to score? Because right now, when he's driving and getting the hoop, he's pulling up, putting up a little floater,
Mhm.
little jump hook, something like that. If you just keep going into the defender, you might start getting fouls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
I
gotta
think
figure
that's
that
fair.
out.
He does. He doesn't avoid contact, but the way he finishes is not through the contact always.
What's it called? Jelly? When people have really good layup bag?
Jelly?
I think so.
We've
Also-
been doing we're doing basketball podcasts for 13 years, and I've never heard that one
Yeah.
time. Maybe not 13 years.
I think the kids say it. Jelly?
I don't know.
You're talking about Riz.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, he's got that.
he's got the
He
Riz.
does have
Yeah,
Riz.
yeah.
He's a Riz god.
I don't
He,
know what this is.
You
It's
don't know
like,
what Riz
it's
is?
like it's like talking to girls.
Game.
Like
Yeah.
game.
Game.
Talking to
He
girls.
is-
Yeah.
He's got that in spades.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I would say he also just doesn't get calls for whatever reason. Like he just doesn't.
He's still young.
Still young, still white, doesn't get calls.
Let's go to our next Twitter question. That comes from @Benevolent King, who says, "Will Mark D says
All of us.
Will Mark D ever be hit with the Coach of the Year curse, or will he stay in the safe zone of second place or worse?"
Is this connected to Bud getting fired?
I don't know.
Every Coach of the
Could be.
Year is eventually murdered.
Yeah, because the stat that was up yesterday was I think the last 3 champions or something like that, or 3 out of the last 4 champions have all lost their jobs within the next, like Vogel, Bud, and Nick Nurse.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Winning the title is more about having the best players than it is about having the best coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so when your team doesn't have success after you win the title and you still have your best player and the best player says, "Hey, I don't want to play for him anymore," they let him go. So it really doesn't have the correlation is more about the players having the power and that player becoming like the most powerful person in your organization than it is about like the coach getting worse or the coach having some curse or something like that. It's just more about what does that player want that brought us an NBA title than it is about anything else.
So in college, the coaches a lot of times can win championships. It's the recruiting aspect of it. But every year you have a new team, essentially, right? So you can look at college and be like, that coach is really, really good. That coach could take that team to the championship. The NBA isn't really like that. Has there been a coach that has had a lot of success with different rosters?
I mean, Phil Jackson comes to mind.
Phil Jackson. And he had to, so like,
yeah, but he always
the
had
best player
kind
of
the
that
prototype,
generation on his team.
Yeah. I mean, Pat Riley has had success.
Yeah.
in multiple different ways.
Spolstra.
Yeah, but what happens is these great coaches, they establish a culture, a way of playing, and then whoever comes in, they either find the guys that fit their culture, or because of the way they already play, the guys that show up. It's like you look at this Heat team, and it's insane that Max Strus and
Gabe
Vincent are 2 guys off the scrap heap that came in, and they're playing significant minutes for a team that's competing against all odds for the potential to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Like,
yeah,
it's the same thing with Tibbs. Like, has Tibbs changed that much, or was it just getting the guys that elevate the way they want to play? Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, figuring out how to make those guys work.
Yeah.
Well, I think like because the person that comes to mind is like Popovich.
Mm-hmm.
I would think like he never had a problem with any of his players. I mean, a little bit with Kawhi, and then Kawhi left.
Steven Jackson.
But I mean, everyone just fit into his system, and they just worked within what he was doing.
I agree with that, but the reason is because they had Tim Duncan for
Well, I know,
20
but they didn't
years,
get. He
and
didn't,
David Robinson for
but he didn't
10
get
before
cross, but he never got cross.
that. No, he
with
didn't.
them.
Get, but it was the perfect combination of a coach and a player's personality.
Yeah.
Where Tim Duncan he's still this kind of just, I don't know, low key, go with everything kind of guy. And so there aren't a lot of examples. Like, so the question is that, I don't know, was it you that posed it, Taylor? Is who is a coach that no matter who comes to the team, he can evolve and be successful with whatever style of play? And that's just not really what you hire a coach to do. Like, they bring in their stamp on the team.
Yeah.
It's like Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr came in with this team and opened up the way they move the ball, the way they play defense, and all of a sudden, but if you changed his roster, which we've seen it in different seasons where it's like
you have no idea how Steve Kerr would coach a team that did not have Steph Curry, Clay, and Draymond on it.
Yeah,
like, how
you
would
have no
he?
idea.
You couldn't.
If he's
You
smart,
can't
he should just
recreate
retire.
that.
He should
he
just
should
retire
retire
when they leave.
I'm sure he will. I think he will.
I mean, the league is just way more about the players than it is about the coaches.
Yeah.
Now, Mike Brown, this is a bad example, and it's so much about his journey, which I love. But like, if you
Mm-hmm.
remember watching, now some of that is the roster deficiencies in those Cleveland teams was just terrible. But you look at the way they played back in the day, and you look at the way that he's playing with this Kings team.
He made an impact. There's no doubt.
And you also just saw like it's a very different style of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But so much of that is his evolution personally of just like going from Cleveland to the Warriors, learning to have, how do I bring that kind of defensive edge to a team where I can also let the ball fly a little bit more. Like that's somebody that he's just been really impressive.
Mm-hmm. Also these days, like being a coach is so much more about like making the players comfortable to be themselves and like culture than it is about X's and O's and like getting players to do what you want kind of thing.
Yeah. There are moments where what you do or don't do matters. Like Bud, like one of the best regular season coaches there's ever been, yet consistently outside of the 1 year, but he consistently, and even in that year, they didn't really change the way they played. It just all of a sudden worked for those 4 games against the Suns. Because it's easy to forget, like the first 2 games against the Suns and the Bucks, like you were like, the Bucks are going to get routed in this finals.
Well, also Bud has Giannis, who's probably the best player in the NBA. So that helps.
It does help. It does help. But at the same time, it's, like obviously you have to still figure out how to do like in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like if Bud was
call
the
the
coach,
timeout.
If Bud was the coach of the Celtics, like I think he would have been let go a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And eventually all these things that you're saying in your culture and your philosophy, if it doesn't evolve fast enough, no one's going to listen to you anymore. It's old, it's stale.
Yeah.
And it's just time to move on.
Yeah.
Unless you have an opportunity like Mark, where you're really able to establish that at the same time that a team is growing up.
Yeah. Well,
that's a lot of Thunder culture too, but
we will also see what happens with Mark once they get to competitive playoff series.
Yeah.
But doesn't it just feel different than Brooks? Like that's my only comp. It just feels so different. Maybe it's just because I'm a different fan, but
I think he is a better coach than Scott Brooks. But also we haven't seen what happens with this team if they get to like second round and lose, in like 3 years, if that happens. And then they go to the second round again the next year and lose, to a team in like 7. Then it's like, oh my gosh, like what are we supposed to do here?
Yeah.
And then the talk started of like, we need a coach that can push him over the hill.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same. It might be the same cycle
we
with
need somebody
Brooks and
that
Donovan.
has more experience. Like we need Stan Van Gundy,
I remember that.
Remember that?
I do like Stan Van.
Yeah. But
that'd be a media person's dream.
It would be great.
Stan Van.
It'd be great.
Did you guys see?
Did you do a Cartman impression?
Yeah, that's my only impression, actually.
Stan Van.
Did you see Gilbert Arenas was on with Russillo? I just saw this clip on Twitter.
Oh no!
And he was telling a story about Stan Van when Arenas was in Orlando.
Yeah.
And he said, Stan Van, if you're just talking X's and O's, is a top 3 coach I've ever played for.
Yeah.
He said, brilliant guy. He said he's a terrible people person.
Yeah.
And would just break players down all the time. And he said he was like, he just did not know how to talk to players and how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it checks out.
That's what we need.
That's why he's not a coach in the NBA anymore.
Yeah.
Like those guys can't stick around anymore. I mean, we did the player poll for the Athletic, and one of the questions was, which coach would you not want to play for? They almost all of them said Tibbs.
Really?
Almost every single one said Tibbs.
I can see him being an awful people person.
Yes, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all.
Hey guys, let's move on.
Carlisle.
Yeah, Carlisle. Yeah. No one wants to play for those guys. They want to play for guys that understand them.
Hey guys, let's move on to our next Twitter question. It comes from @Riley_Deanne, who says they are working on creating a solid wedding registry. What are some must-haves?
You got to get a good coffee maker.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good one. Get all your kitchen stuff.
Yeah,
good sets of pots and pans.
Fine china.
No, don't waste your time.
Waste
on
of
that
time.
crap.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do that. But yeah, a really nice coffee maker, maybe like a nice mixer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of those KitchenAid mixers.
Yeah, just like all the really expensive kitchen appliances, like get those. Get yourself a nice toaster.
All the stuff that you don't want to spend money on, but it's nice to have. So bathroom stuff too. Get
Yeah.
sets of good towels. Get a nice shower rug. Get a nice shower curtain. All the stuff that costs money that you would hate spending money on.
Here's my thought. This is what I no. Always have something available at every price point. And if all the stuff sells out at one price point, go in, update it so there's more things available at that price point. If all your $30 items sell out, add more so that someone comes in and say, "Oh, they have everything. I'm not going to get anything." No, there's always more. There's always like things available at every single price point because someone could come in and want to spend something, but if everything's gone at 300, they're going to go down to 200. So have something available at 300. I'd do 10, 30,
Just do
50
gift cards, really. That's what I would do.
Yeah, gift cards are nice.
Like Amazon, Target, call it a day.
Don't put too much Corningware on there.
I don't even know what Corningware is.
Don't
might
worry
get-
about it.
You might get too much Corningware.
Can't have too much Corningware. That's not like the see-through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
See-through like serving trays,
They're not
Corning-
serving trays.
aren't they? You cook in them, but you serve out them too.
You could serve out of them, but I don't think of them as on the table.
What is
I think of them on the
this? Is
table.
where I feel.
Do you
really
cook a
dumb.
casserole in the Corningware?
Yes, you
Yes,
could
you
cook a
do.
casserole.
Okay,
with
so
a
like
Corningware.
it's the stuff your grandma always had.
It's clear.
It's kind of
clear.
translucent.
It's completely translucent.
No,
Some of it doesn't have to be.
no, it can be cloudy.
Yeah, I know. No, this is Corningware. It's like old casserole dishes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not translucent.
They can
Like,
be.
Some of them can.
the
be.
lid is.
kind of.
No, they
Some
can
of them
be.
can be.
You
Some,
The
don't-
lighting's bad in those
some of them
pictures.
can't be.
and you don't want too much.
You don't
Yeah.
get just don't put too much Corningware. That would be my advice.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just need one good Corningware set.
Yep.
I'd say you don't need any.
We
know-
use those a lot, man.
Yeah, you'll use it,
We
Hey,
cook things in it.
but not too much.
we store things in it.
if you're listening to
No,
this,
just the perfect amount of
Just-
Corningware.
if you're listening to this like 20 years ago, get everything from Bed Bath & Beyond because you could take everything back for cash.
Yeah,
Back
but
in
only
the
if
day.
this is 20
Yeah,
years ago.
20
Yeah,
years ago.
so-
Somehow
time
you
travel.
That's
figured
good
that out.
advice.
This is why are you listening to our podcast if you're 20 years in the past?
Looking for
Like
wedding
if you
advice.
figured out how to go back in the past,
Yeah.
don't listen to our podcast.
If you can go back, what are you gonna do?
Wait, we
Invest
wouldn't
in-
even be
invest in
born
all
yet.
of these companies 20 years ago. Oh,
Yeah,
the
we're not even
podcast.
born yet.
Did you
I'm
just say
41.
invest in Aldi company?
Yeah, all of the
You
companies.
can go
Aldi,
anywhere.
Aldi?
Amazon,
You can go anywhere.
Apple.
You can go anywhere.
Aldi.
What?
In
You can go
time?
anywhere in time. You can do anything, and you're investing. Come
No,
on.
That's smart,
I
Jay.
was just going back like 20 years, like we just talked about,
I just make a lot of sports bets.
like Biff.
Yeah.
That's faster investments, quicker ROI, larger ROI.
Definitely. Especially if you're a time traveler.
Kill.
Oh my God, are all the rich people just time travelers?
No, what you got to do?
Are you sure?
I'm
You
not
know-
sure.
You know what you got to do?
I'm not sure either.
Kill baby Hitler. Done.
But what does that do? Butterfly effect.
I know. Come back.
Creates a worse monster.
What if Hitler killed the worst Hitler?
That's the thing you got to deal with, and that's the end. It's I've seen Butterfly Effect.
Okay, we got to move this. I got to move this forward.
I've seen Butterfly
Gotta
Effect. I know
move
how it
this.
does. Because you know what you have to do? Then you got to go back when you're a
He's
little
still
kid
going.
and hit both your hands, and so you don't have hands anymore. That's what he does in Butterfly Effect.
Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher.
Never seen it.
You've never seen it?
It's not good. Don't watch it.
Kucher, I don't know.
You've really never seen it? It's good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's
You'll
sad.
leave feeling worse about life afterwards.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
It's not hopeful.
double feature with Dude, Where's My Car?
Now that will
Watch Dude, Where's My Car.
That
That'll
one's
give,
fantastic.
that'll
I've
give you
seen that
good.
one
That'll
many
give you good
times.
feelings.
Everyone
Ah,
was happy.
yeah.
My
Right.
wife likes it.
My wife likes it. Hey guys, I got a question for you, and it is this: are you miffed and are you peeved?
Miffed and peeved.
Hey guys, are you miffed and you peeved?
It's supposed to be 90 degrees today.
That's why I have to wear a coat in the morning.
Ugh.
I'm already too hot.
I'm gonna
You're gonna sweat. That's what you're gonna do.
lose my mind. I guess
your
those-
shop gets so hot.
Yeah, and it's gonna be so humid too.
Yeah, it's gonna be very humid.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sticky.
If you're not in Oklahoma, we have had like a week of just rain,
Yep.
followed up by a lot of heat today, and so it's going to feel like a
Sticky.
steam bag.
Yep.
A steam bag. What is that?
Yeah, you know what that feels like, right?
It's so
Classic thing. We all know what it
it's
feels
so
like.
a sauna. It's going to feel like a
A
sauna.
sauna.
A sauna.
A sauna.
I always like
Steam bag.
the image I have of this kind of weather is like those vegetable steam and bag things where you toss it in there.
Yeah,
And it
oh,
steams
yeah,
them.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what I think of. That's
Cauliflower.
how we're all going to feel.
You know, those were like the only vegetables I ate growing up at dinner.
Oh, you've changed.
Oh yeah, dude. I thought that's what vegetables tasted like.
Tastes like water.
Yeah, just soggy. Everything was soggy.
Tastes like solid
soft.
water.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What do vegetables taste like?
Well, they taste
I was
good.
about to say, like, don't they just
Yeah.
taste like what you put on them?
No, what?
Don't you like? Yeah, some spices.
What do you mean?
Well, yeah, but like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Like, I thought that's what broccoli tasted like, was the steam bag broccoli. It does not taste like that. It
Yeah.
tastes much better.
What does it taste like?
Broccoli.
Which tastes like
Water.
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 It does not. I don't know what
like
it
a
tastes like.
slightly flavored water.
I like a cauliflower.
I hate cauliflower.
Love it.
Now that tastes like water with a
We
bad
do a lot
texture.
of we do a lot of baking of our veggies.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
get them a little bit crispy. It's a little
Yeah.
bit of, like
Broil them.
You
broil
roast
them,
it.
Broil 'em.
roasted, like Brussels with a little bit of
Boil
like,
them,
we
mash
throw
them,
some,
stick them in a stew.
Gosh, it's good. It's the second reference to that exact thing I've heard in the last 24 hours.
Wow.
So we do a little like shaved almonds. That's a little Lord of the Rings, man.
Yeah, it is.
Potato.
Yeah, it's exactly. Filthy appetites. All right, man. Why do you gotta ruin things? Are you miffed and peeved about anything else?
To have a wish to catch a fish. I had to have surgery on my it wasn't surgery. I had a procedure done on my mouth and it wasn't fun. I was miffed about it. I hated it.
Nothing worse than oral
It
surgery.
was terrible.
Yeah, y'all mentioned that last week, and you are not lying. Teeth pain is just about the worst.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It was the best T-Pain.
Thanks so much for listening to our podcast.
Have you guys seen the movie Teeth?
You guys got any hobbies?